Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and on the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop.
This is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Right across Guyana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be illegal. Say to them, you're illegal. Free up the country, you're undemocratic. They're going to face a different situation right across the country.
When they come to the communities, whether it is in Berbice or Essequibo and Linden or in South Georgetown or Agricola or in Ennore or Port Morant, the people of Guyana should treat them as illegal. I said they should walk behind them, chase them out of your communities, because it means they've been squatting in power.
Good evening. Welcome back to Straight Up. It's 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're not going to waste no time. We are not bothered about how many folks are watching us or listening to us right now. Even if we have three persons, even if we have two, even if we have Ann John and Sparkling Wills, we will continue with this show. Even if we have Karen Ann, we will continue with this show. Even if we have Anne Elizabeth Kit and Jackie Cameron alone, we will continue with this show. We are not bothered about the numbers. We are concerned about the effect that we will have, even if it's with three. The Bible says even one man or one woman, well, I added that woman part, stands up against injustice. It is a majority. All right. Having said all of that, share the link. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Charlene, good evening to all of you. I know you guys are locked in all over the place, but bring the flock back over here. Let's talk. All right. So you guys saw what happened there in Plaisance earlier. The people are fighting back. And I love that. The people are fighting back. Right, Booker? The people are fighting back. And that is a good thing. Rajendra D. Not. All of you guys, good evening and welcome again to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benchap, and we are going to rock and roll for, let us say, we're going to be together for another hour right here on 107.1 FM. Looks as though we have forgotten about this, right? We haven't forgotten about it. May 2nd. We haven't forgotten about you at all. We haven't forgotten about you at all. We haven't done so. We haven't done so. You know, we haven't forgotten about you. Oh, yes. So we are going to get back to this matter here. You know what I mean? We will get back to this matter. We haven't forgotten about Claudette Singh. You know what I mean? Claudette Singh, right? And I want you guys to just look at her. Look at the damage that she has caused Guyana, right? All of you, just look at her, including all of you who are watching right now. Leslyn, all of you, Marjorie, and even Ruth. Say it, let's hear Ruth. Look at her. Look at Claudette Singh. Look at her. These people are shameless. They have absolutely no shame, none whatsoever. And we are running out of patience. We are running out, piri. Songs like weary. We are running out of patience. Can our operator, where is Lemon? Come on, Lemon, before you lose your job tonight, because you guys see, I know you guys see the sort of mood that I'm in, a no nonsense kind of mood, right? Eon Bino got kicked off, and furthermore, Eon Bino misbehaved. He is gone, disrespectful, and we're not going to tolerate that on this platform at all. So if you see Eon Bino, whoever Eon Bino is, tell him he got the award. He got the award right here on 107.1 FM. Mr. Wayne Caesar, welcome back again. That was played for one of those guys who now joined the trench crop, pose them in the trenches and let them stay right there. But I'm in a no-nonsense mood. Just imagine how my blood is boiling up so much. If I was actually in Guyana, and I don't want people to come and bring no them kind of dotish statement, but Mark, come back home. Mark, we don't see you. Be quiet. Don't tempt me. Be quiet. Because enough of you guys who are saying it don't even have the balls. Some of you are right there. Oh, did I say that? We're actually live on television. We're actually live. I'm getting out of hand these days. What sort of food did I eat today? Right? But a lot of them don't have the BALLS at all. They don't hit the streets. They don't do nothing. They just talk. And they're quick to remind people that we are overseas. Suddenly, Mark is overseas and we are underground. Gosh. Mr. Caesar, again, welcome back. We saw what happened there in Plaisance. And I say kudos to the people in Plaisance. Kudos to all of you. All of you guys. 100% rest yourself. We have a different kind of fired up here on 107.1 FM. And read between the lips, please, Anna. We have a different kind of fired up. We are genuinely fired up here on 107.1 FM. Arlene, Ruben, Benjamin, good evening to you, ma'am, and good evening to Hyson and all of you guys. Rastaman in the house. Rastaman in the house. Mr. Caesar, sorry that sometimes I take up all of the talking, but you know what? Let me disappear, man. Just pretend as though you're starting the show now, and let's start all over again. Let me see you in action. Just pretend you're sitting in for me for a couple of minutes. Start it. Let's go.
Again, everyone, a pleasant good evening to you guys. It's good to be back on. Welcome to Straight Up, everyone. And just go ahead and share the link. As Mark said, we're going to be rocking and rolling tonight. We have a lot of issues to discuss tonight. And we're going to start off with, Plaisance tonight. But keep in mind that we haven't forgot that we're still waiting on GCOM to give us official results from the local government elections. I think this would have been the 15th day, and we have not heard anything officially from the Guyana Elections Commission, which is shameful and disgraceful. Also, we are awaiting the DPP. Everybody seems to be frozen these days. We are awaiting the DPP because I am so certain that, we have enough, a preponderance of evidence to levy charges against Nigel Darmlal. So we're also waiting on that. And of course, Plaisance is the main thing now. Last news I would have heard out of Plaisance as the meeting was over and everything, that the crowd grew much larger, Mark. The crowd grew much larger and they chased him out.
You know what, Wayne? I like that.
Out of Plaisance.
I heard.
You remember what
that.
Jagdeo said? Mark, you remember, quote unquote, what Mr. Jagdeo said? When the ministers of Granger and Nagamutu come to your village to chase them out. And
but he didn't, Mr. Caesar, he didn't say that in that sort of voice, When the ministers then come to you, chase them out.
Right across Ghana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be.
And look, our message to the people of Plaisance, when Jack, Deon Kwame, and all of the convicts, they go to Plaisance, chase them out, walk behind them and chase them out. Rake them out. Say, get out of here. Don't come around here. Get out of here.
But Mark, that is absolutely what happened to them, later on in the evening. The people chased them out.
You just mentioned that. Let's go straight to that. Lemon, let's get it going, please.
They got it tough, eh?
All right, let's pause it there for a moment. That guy, that hooligan, that criminal that is skinning his teeth is the actual guy who replaced, for now, um, Dharamlal. This guy, Anand Prasad, is the head of the Ministry of Local Government. What is your take? People are serious. This is not Indar people. That is not Indar Ignar. That is Anand Prasad. Anand Prasad. What's your take, Mr. Caesar, and what you just saw there? First, we saw Ramson turn his butt in the direction of the crowd. Nobody wants that. Done with. Done. Used up. Done with. Sorry. Now this guy here is skinning his teeth. Come on. What is your take on what's happening here, sir?
Well, Marky's not too smart of a guy, yeah. It's not who laughs. It's not who laughs first. It's who laughs last. And he's skinning his teeth, but he's not seeing what's going on. The people are trying to tell them that, hey, we don't want you guys. The people don't want criminals. They would have had enough over the 23 plus 3 years. It's time, Mark. The PPP is on their way out. Like I keep crying out to the Guyanese people, remain vigilant, remain patient. This is soon gonna all come to an abrupt end. The PPP could never win an election in Guyana, Mark. They cannot win an election in Guyana. This is not a government. This is a terrorist syndicate. Look at these guys.
You
They
know,
are all a bundle of criminals.
we don't speak violence, and we don't tolerate violence. Trust me, we just don't. But in any other part of the world, maybe these guys wouldn't be skinning their teeth. They wouldn't be leaving that village skinning their teeth like that. You know, they're lucky they're not in Jamaica or even certain part of Trinidad and Tobago. But Guyanese, we are peaceful. We don't do anything to harm people. Neither are we saying that anybody should harm anybody. But they're lucky that they're living in Guyana and that they can get away with these sort of things. They're lucky. Imagine he goes into a community skinning his teeth. Skinning his teeth. The other one turning his butt. The other one, I don't know, man. Mr. Caesar, take it over. Continue, sir. Or should we go back to the continue, please.
Yeah,
Because
no,
Plaisance is where you're from. Continue, sir.
no. Listen, Mark. This is not over. This is not over because you know what's going to happen is that the PPP is going to return and they're going to attempt to bulldoze the people on the Plaisance line top. But if I know Plaisance well, the people will be prepared for them. They will be prepared for them. Listen, Mark, I am not calling for any violence. That's not me. I'm not interested in that. But listen, a government that is not providing jobs for people, Mark, cannot come and try to take away the daily living of these people. These people
Amen.
has been vendors, Mark, for many, many years. I've left that country with some of those people already vending. You know, I've went back to Guyana several times and went to the line top several times and do my normal thing. I'm not a drinker, but I'll
When you
go and
said
get
when
my
you said do your normal thing.
get my Vitamalt and get my Malta from the people out there and you know, hang around and talk with the guys and stuff like that. Listen, man,
Gotcha.
Mark, you know something, with all the oppression and everything that is going on across Guyana and in Guyana for the last 23 plus years, Mark, not just Plaisance, but in the Afro-Guyanese communities, these people have found ways just to try to lock out what is actually happening to them. The Plaisance people usually have their little Thursday night thing that they come and they do their little stuff amongst each other, hang out, they play their music and they do their stuff.
And
You
it's
know,
a form
this
of
gov
business. It's recreation.
yes,
We have all
yes,
gone there
yes, yes.
on the line top. We all knock we Guinness.
And we talk whatever
No,
we talk. We might talk politics, we might talk cricket, we might talk different basketball if basketball is in season and stuff. Little small talk, you know, the guys may trouble each other and call each other names that they know from when they were young and stuff like
or
that.
or, or we might
Normal,
or we might catch
normal.
in a, or we might catch in a nice little dance too.
Of course, of course. Listen, Plaisance people is a fun going, happy set of people, man. But this government, you know, see it fit. They saw it fit to go and interfere with these people and their normal traditions, Mark. And I find that to be very, very disrespectful. You know, you don't
Extremely.
know what you're waking up. You need to leave those people alone. You know, because with
Let's
all this government has been doing, Mark, the people haven't attacked them in any way or form. Now they're coming and make a problem here. But let's go back to
absolutely.
the video, Mark. We can go back to the video.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You know, this is the part I like. I really love this part. Jagdeo must go. The people are brave. And let me say this. Kudos to those people. Kudos to those villagers are brave enough to surround this vehicle. They didn't do what those hooligans did. They didn't behave like a pack of hooligans. These people were decent people. They didn't behave like the hooligans we saw. And we know those hooligans, what they did to that vehicle out in front of the Pegasus. We know those hooligans. We know what they did. These people were peaceful. And kudos to all of them, those brave people. Let's go back to the tape. I don't know why some people saying stop it and stop. I just don't know. Somebody probably wanted to throw water. You think Jagdeo and those hooligans would have been ruthless to people? They have no shame. They don't hold back. And if somebody want to bathe somebody with water, come on, sometimes you got to, the Bible talks about water, holy water. Somebody said, don't throw water, don't throw water. This Jagdeo is getting a dose of his own medicine. Karma has come back to bite Jagdeo right there. And he will get more of the karma that he should get, that he deserves.
They got it tough, eh?
That's what I'm saying.
Good in there. Good in there.
those criminals there. Look at those. Look at those. That's criminal. Those PDP criminals. Look at them.
Mr. Chairman. What happened in the meeting there, boy?
Sure.
What go on in the meeting there? What I say?
Well, believe in me. And one thing my grandmother told me, and I continue, that code stuck with me. Right? Be careful with individuals who have diarrhea of words and constipated with action. And that is how I would describe Jagdio's speech. He just talk, but is constipated with any action. He came to this village with no feasibility study. I don't know. I would have to find out. I would have to do. It is useless.
Never invited the council, never call you, never give you a letter to about
But
the meeting.
they even was trying to deny me entry into the place until one of my councillors identify me, and then they allow me to actually go into there. But I would count the visit as being a political visit. It's not anything about the interest of our people within this community.
We are hearing that he also called for a separate committee to be formed to represent the village interests.
Yes, he said clearly he's not dealing with the NDC because the present chairman is not the chairman. He was. But what he needs to know that the AAG did not dissolve the council. And at the end of the day, I am the chairman as per normal.
All right, Mr. Caesar, you heard there, Jagdeo is constipated with words. He's constipated with more other things, not just words. But your take on how disrespectful Jagdeo is to the entire community and by extension to the entire Guyanese people. Your take on what you just heard there from the chairman.
Yes. So, Mark, what I just heard there from the chairman is that Jagdeo intends to basically ignore the NDC, who basically was elected by the people, by the constituency, and create this little group that is going to, it's going to be conflicting here, Mark. You have an NDC. You don't need any additional group, but he's trying to create another group that he is going to deal with. Okay? And then he is going to empower that group to challenge the NDC. So you see where this is going, right? You see where this is going with this criminal Jagdeo. Mark, he cannot help himself and is always, oh, I will not be dealing. Irfan Ali should be ashamed of himself. He is, what a disgrace. What a real puppet he is, man. It's just, it's like, what does he stand for? Does he have a spine? Oh my goodness, this is just totally ridiculous, Mark. It is ridiculous. A man who sits in a seat and wants to be called president, though installed, don't have the gall to come out and say anything. Jagdeo is coming out and doing all the talking.
Criminal. The chairman just said it all there. We'll get back to the chairman shortly, but we had some of our spies, so to speak, in the meeting tonight. We had some of our spies right there. Listen to what and how Jagdeo was lying to the people. Listen to this dictator. Just listen to him. And we thank our spies who were in that meeting, and we want more and more of our spies to go out and when you go places, record them.
And please have people here to look at it. Then after that, so I'll have a list of all the vendors, and you will know exactly where the road will fall. We will then convene a meeting with all of those who were affected by the road. Another meeting, and at that meeting, we start looking at specific solutions for each individual. In the meantime, I'm going to have someone look at the additional piece of land that they have somebody suggested to see if it makes sense to that, and if it belongs to the state, right? So,
Yeah, exactly what the chairman just said. Jack Deere went in there with no plan at all. Are you surprised with what you just heard? That somebody get a piece of land and we gonna see what we gonna do? No study, nothing at all. Haphazard. This wicked dictator, this criminal, Bara Jack Deere.
Well, Mark, the same would have happened on the national level when they when they rigged their way into power. They had no plan for the country. There was nothing. They just rigged their way in and just started borrowing money. There was no plan for the people. The same thing. He came into Plaisance, and there was no plan. What I know is that he would have pushed a whole lot of money into Plaisance and would not have won Plaisance. So I feel like if this was a revenge tactic, to move the people from the line top because Irfan Ali was there and the people weren't pleased. Yes, he went into one of the shops, I think it was the Guinness bar, whatever, and those people are associated with the PPP. So that's fine. But he couldn't really go anywhere else. The people was booing them and asking them what they're there for. So they know
Shame.
what
Shame on
Plaisance
those
people
people.
give, Mark.
Shame on
They
those
know
people
what
at the
Plaisance
Guinness
people
bar.
give.
Shame on them. Shame on them. Let's continue to hear what he said, and we appreciate those folks who were at that so-called meeting with a bunch of criminals and gangsters and Phantom Squad killers were in that meeting with Jack Dave. They actually rented people to go up there to make it appear as though the bulk of the people there were from Plaisance, when in fact that's not it. Let's get back into what Jack Dave actually said and lied to those people.
one of the solutions to move some people along the road. So that's the third element of it. All of those property owners that may be affected, we'll meet them separately. So we have one young lady's name already, and then there may be others who might be affected. You'll also be part of the group that meets with the engineers when they come tomorrow, but we'll meet with you separately depending on what happens. Okay?
Depending on what happens. Depending on what happens. Did you hear that, Mr. Caesar? And all of you who are listening, depending on what happens tomorrow. They have a plan, and the plan that they have is to bulldoze the people's stuff. They have no regards. They have no time for anybody. That is why they walked in there with all those criminals, all those convicts like the Kwame McCoy, the Jason Abdullah, you name them. And quite a few of those folks from the Phantom Squad, Death Squad, killers, and so forth. Those are the type of people they walked into Plaisance with. But let's not forget, Mr. Caesar, while you get another couple minutes on this particular issue, and we want to move away from it for a few minutes, let us not forget the Dharamlal situation. This may have been a planned event to divert attention. But your take on what you just heard Jack Dale mention in that meeting or so-called meeting earlier?
Well, Mark, listen, what he's trying to tell the people is very inconclusive, right? He doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. He's talking about engineers and all this stuff. First of all, the notice that was levied to the people in Plaisance was very short notice. You're talking about people livelihood there. You needed to give those people at least, I would say, 3 to 6 months notice. You just can't show up and say, hey, you guys have 7 days to move. What are people to do? People have rent to pay, children to send to school, amongst other things. And this government has not made any jobs available to anybody. 10-day work can't pay rent. 10-day work can't pay mortgage. This I am very, very, very disappointed. And at the same time, I would expect this from a group like the PPPC. What they want, Mark, what they are looking for is that when they come in to the Afro-Guyanese communities, the people are going to fall to their feet and beg them. But I'm going to tell you guys this. You're going to wait a long time for that because it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
The people of Plaisance sent that rude awakening to Jack Deere and his criminal gang. Those criminal gangs have no respect for the people. We saw Ramson Jr. turning his butt, turning his butt, inviting the people of Plaisance, disrespectful gesture. We just saw another so-called minister, Anand Prasad, not the Anand Prasad that's on this program here blogging, but he is sitting there in the absence of Dharamlal at the Ministry of Local Government. His windows were down and he was skinning his teeth, laughing at the people. You could only get away with these sort of things in Guyana, right? In any other country, you wouldn't dare to laugh. I don't want to say anything else because I'm a peaceful guy and we are peaceful people. Speaking of that, let's move away from what happened in Plaisance earlier today. We will get back to that, but let's get to this rascal here. The DPP is yet to do something. They have issued a statement today, and they're talking about due diligence and let the system. Suddenly they want all of us to parrot and echo this nonsense. Let the system work. Let the system work. They didn't sit and let the system work for Roxanne Myers and Lowen Field and Mingo and Trevor Ben and others. They weren't concerned about the system to work. When they keep persecuting people, they weren't concerned about let the system work. And now suddenly they want to let the system work. Jack Day wants to let the system work. Irfan Ali wants to let the system work. And we're hearing this some of our people in the opposition too with this nonsense. Let the system work. This time we already know the system doesn't work. The system hasn't been working. But whenever it concerns these pakus, it is always this cry, let the system work. Suddenly they know about the system. Suddenly they want the system to work when it suits them, when it suits their agenda. And those of you, those MPs in the opposition, y'all don't fall for this crap. And y'all don't keep echoing this nonsense coming from the installed PPP regime about let the system work when y'all goddamn know that the system hasn't been working, especially under the corrupt PPP regime. The system has never worked under the PPP regime. Y'all stop with this nonsense. They are brainwashing you guys. Repeat after me. Stop with the let the system work. To hell with that. You think the DPP is concerned about letting the system work? You think Jack Davis is concerned about letting the system work? You think Irfan Ali is concerned about letting the system work? But suddenly that becomes the mantra of the day all over Guyana. Let the system work. You think if it was somebody in the opposition had gotten accused and so forth, you think they would have said, let the system work? When those folks stood up for us in parliament, those members of parliament, you think the PPP and the DPP and these people were saying, let the system work? No. They expelled those persons or suspended them without pay. And it wasn't Sherrod Duncan alone got expelled or suspended without pay. There were others who got suspended without pay. Let the system work. Let the system work. I need a cup of water, man. I need a cup of water. Let the system work. Over to you, Mr. Caesar.
Yeah, Mark, that same system that they're talking about, when they say let it work, they only want the system to work when it's convenient to them. You know, Listen, this guy, the ministry that he heads, man, is somehow or the other he's gonna get into contact with young people. This guy does not need to be a minister. He does not need to be going to parliament anymore. He does not need to be a part of a government, man. Okay, these alleged accusations against this guy, they are very, very serious, Mark. They are very serious, and based on his track record, his history, his character, I don't know how come the DPP cannot come back to us as yet, but I am still waiting for that decision. And I hope that justice will be served for that young people and for that young lady. And I know the people of Guyana is sitting back and they are waiting on this decision. They are waiting. They have not forgotten. So whatever Jack Dio think he's doing in Plaisance is gonna deter the people and make them forget and make this go away. This is not going away. This is not going away. This
It
has
is
to
not.
stop.
It is not going to go away. But it hurts me when people, knowing that the system sucks, knowing that the system doesn't work. If the system worked, then we would have had the elections petitions heard. If the system worked, then we would have had so many different things that would have been working in favor of the people. Those who are
That's true.
jumping out and parroting themselves about, and I want you guys to see my facial expression. Let the system work. They know darn well that there is no system going to work. They know darn well that they're cooking up the system. They know darn well that the system hasn't worked in the DPP. It hasn't worked at office of the president. It hadn't worked at the SOKU. It hadn't worked at the police force. But suddenly, when it has to do with this lagu bagu, this nimakaram, this katahar, this korhi, this chamar, suddenly they want to say, let the system work. They didn't know that the system was supposed to have worked with the Henry boys. They weren't concerned about that. They weren't concerned about the system for Oren Boston. They weren't concerned about the system for that young man, Bacchus, who was killed by police on the east coast of Demerara, and Oren Boston in Essequibo, killed by squad, a SWAT team. They didn't know that then. They never. So that is something new in their vocabulary right now. Let the system work so that we can feel guilty that, oh, let us step back. Let us don't say anything on social media. And some of them parroting themselves about this. Oh, we mustn't say certain things on social media. We must be quiet and we must allow the system to work and so forth. They didn't when they protested and did all manner of things in Bat settlement. They didn't know that let the system work then. They didn't when they almost killed a minister under the previous administration in front of the Pegasus. They didn't know that let the system work then. They didn't care about the system. They took control of the system. They corrupt the system. They manipulated the system. And now suddenly they want to pretend as though they're angels and coming to us with crocodile tears, putting their hands up, some of them putting their hands on their lap and saying, let the system work. My question to you is, what system do they want to work? What system? What system? And those of you in the opposition, you all stop with this nonsense too, but let the system work. Sorry, man, but that I am upset about that crap. There is no system that will work for people who are oppressed. And under an oppressed regime, the system never works for the people who are oppressed. It is convenient, it is only convenient, and it works conveniently for the oppressors them when they oppress. And watch what's going to happen with this situation with Dharam Lal. They're already playing tricks with you. And the mind game that they're playing is, again, I wish I was a musician playing a guitar. Let the system work. Mr. Caesar, let your voice be heard. Go ahead. Let your voice be heard.
Let the system work. A system that they would have already corrupted and to some extent criminalized. Because listen, the kind of treatment that the Guyana police force has been meted out to the people of Guyana, it's criminal in nature, man. Their behavior is totally unreasonable. There is no need for the police force to be treating the citizenry the way they treat them. That's one. And then when they say let the system work, we're talking about the DPP here. We know that the DPP is biased in nature and that she's not independent in fact and appearance. She's biased in favor of the PPPC. So they have that on the cover there once they have the DPP. She's going to be on their side. Most cases are going to go in their favor, as we've been seeing. The cases has been going in their favor. But like I said before, Mark, this case is a completely different case. This case is different, and I'm waiting to see what she comes back with. It's taking quite a long time. I certainly never thought it would have took this long. But if they think that, we are going to calm down because they may be waiting for everyone to calm down. No, these are serious allegations. This is a young woman, a young, innocent 16-year-old woman. She deserves justice. What allegedly happened to her should have never happened. And we need to get out there. I call for a special task force. I hope the opposition takes it to the floor of parliament for a task force to be funded. We need to get out there. We need to help the young ladies and even young men, are experiencing, sodomy and all these kind of things. These things should not be happening. And it's widespread across Guyana, and it needs to stop. And it's rampant under the PPPC government. These guys are lawless beyond lawless, Mark. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Mr. Caesar. What I want us to do is to just, and if all of our listeners agree, then we will just follow what they say because majority rules. I think we should just get off this program right now. Don't come back. Don't say anything. Shut our mouths. Shut it up. Put some scotch tape. Don't say anything. Let us just wait until the system works. What do you guys say? Should we continue, or let me just put my hands up, or push my hand in my pocket, or push my hand in my pie, or somewhere, and just wait for the system to work? Y'all wake me up when the system works.
Well, you know something, Mark, I'm up already. That same system that we're waiting for it to work, you understand me, would have bulldozed the people in Moko, would have done what's happening to the people in Plaisance tonight. Would have murdered or in Boston, Quindam Bacchus, would have done tremendous amount of damage to the Guyanese people. So I feel the time for waiting on anything, Mark, is over. Okay, the time for wait. This is the time that we get on the front foot. We get on the front foot and we start playing some strokes here. Enough is enough. We just can't sit down and hold the posture of, having any systems work. The systems in Guyana, Mark, themselves, they all need an overhaul. All the systems in Guyana. So I don't know. We just can't sit down. We cannot sit down. Every day is a fighting day. That's the way it has to be until this government is removed. And I hope, again, that the international community is looking on here, because this is the government that they would have assisted in installing in Guyana. And the people, their voices are being heard. They don't want this government. They do not want this government. This government is not for the people. Okay? Governments, the first thing they do is to take care of their people, and everything else comes after. Governments are not in place to run businesses, Mark. Business are run within the private sector, not by governments. We're seeing something completely different here in Guyana. Where taxpayers' monies are being used to build Marriotts and all these things, fine, all good and well. Taxpayers' money was used to build the Marriott. And now you have one man that is looking to dispose of that same Marriott. That's a profit-making asset. There are so many Guyanese that are struggling right now, living below the poverty line, and you have an asset that is bringing in revenue, and you're looking to dispose of it. The Marriott right now is sitting on a shelf life of about 35 years, 35 more years. Why would you want to dispose of that now? You don't see Jack Dio and all these PPP cronies are just playing on the hand business politics with the Guyanese people. They're not addressing the needs of the people. They're not addressing, the people. We need jobs. The people in Guyana need jobs, Mark. They need jobs. And this government is not helping them in that sector. But yet when they create something to make a living for themselves, this same government is infringing upon it. Now what else? Mark, you know what happens when people backs are against the wall, man. When the people do decide to respond, I hope that people would not be complaining, because listen, in this life we all have to live. We all have children to feed. I don't know if Fanali and them could just go in their bed at nights and go to sleep, man, with so many Guyanese across the country punishing the way they are. I don't know how these guys could sleep. These guys definitely don't have any conscience. Over to you, Mark.
No, not. I'm actually preparing to pack my bags up for the night. It's we have 9 minutes more because I do feel that um, everybody's saying, and even some of them in the opposition, and some of them that we really thought knew better, are buying into this. Let the system work. Let us not talk about the matter. Let us not discuss it. Let us not do anything. Let us shut our mouths as though we are just loyal servants to them. And we have to look up to them as massa. And when they speak to us, we are like little boys and girls. And we must shut up. We must believe what they say because they feel as though they have something over us. I don't know. I just don't know. And, I got to go back to the drawing board with some of these people, some of them even in the opposition. I don't know, something is
Mark,
telling me that some of them might be selling us out. I don't want to be sold. My ancestors were grabbed, they were stolen, they were kidnapped, and they were sold. I don't want to be sold. And I don't want some of them in the opposition feel that they could sell us. We're seeing some of them with this let the system work crap. The system is not working. And had it not been those brave women, mostly women on the ground, who are out there, whether it's raining, protesting to force the system to work, we would not have gotten anywhere. We would not have gotten anywhere at all. But it is what it is, man. It is David Watts and all of you guys. It is what it is. The system isn't working, and the people have to make the system work. Mr. Caesar, you were about to say something, sir.
Yeah, Mark, that whole let the system work rhetoric, means absolutely nothing to me. I am not here to listen to what position the opposition is going to be taking, or what position the government, the installed government is going to be taking. I'm here for the people of Guyana. That's the main reason, Mark, that I am on this program, for the people. I'm here to speak for the voiceless. Okay, the people in Guyana is punishing, and that is my concern. That needs to be addressed. Okay, it's an oil producing nation. The people in Guyana are on the ground like everybody else, and all those who are benefiting from the patrimony and not having it trickle down to the people, shame on them. All Guyanese are entitled. Our constitution says that they are all entitled to the patrimony of that oil wealth.
Well
So,
said. Well said, Mr. Caesar. Let's head back to Plaisance. Earlier, it happened. The people don't believe in the system, and they have to fight for justice. That's what they have to fight for. I'm glad that some of the others in the opposition are coming out. Some who are missing in action, they're coming out. There's always a press release. Regardless of where you are in the world, there's always a press release. I was in Camp Street and I used to make sure I get my press release sent out. Whether it's rain, whether it's sun, whether I'm sick, Whether I'm not sick, whether I have a toothache, it doesn't matter. Press release. People, y'all wake up. Do not be fooled.
So what would you tell the people of Plaisance right now about this visit? What can they expect from the PPP coming into their village, invading their village, and renting people from all over the place to come in and be a part of it? They themselves cannot come in and have their say. What really would you say to the people of Plaisance?
Well, I would advocate as I normally would do. Jagdio is nothing else but a liar. And he always lied through his teeth. And he tried to impress people with lies. As just now he said that the chairman is trembling because he wants to do an audit, and I'm afraid. And he knows far better that the audit, he can't audit Rodwell, Ivor, Nathaniel Lewis. You need to audit the Industry Plaisance NDC. Whenever he audit that, he would know that the finger ought to be pointed to the regional office. He need to go there. This we need to audit.
What about the road expansion and the removal of vendors? What Edgel said about that?
Well, Edgel did not add any word to say to the individual. It was dominated by
Jagdio,
as per normal.
What did he say about the removal of the vendors and about?
Well, what he did, he asked that they shelve that 7 days ultimatum and forget about the ultimatum, and they were able to work along with it because he promised some engineer to be there tomorrow, and coming out of that, he would meet with them shortly.
Okay, so just to recap, Jagdio is saying it doesn't want to have anything to do with the current NDC.
Yes, with the current.
So they're going to set up a new committee.
Yes, a committee
to respond.
Well, apart from what this gentleman is saying, we also heard that from our spies within. Let's get back to some of the other things that we got from our spies in that so-called meeting today with that dictator, Jack Dio.
Is there a committee in the village that looks at sports like that manages the ground? It would be good to meet with them and find out what their plans are and how we can support them, work through them. So maybe which ground we're talking about? The most central ground, right? Why we cannot use our community center? The one close by me? Yeah. Okay, that's a
Okay, so you heard there now, he's suddenly gone to sports now. He doesn't know which ground, he doesn't know anything. He walked in there with an empty head as per normal. Nothing, no plan, no study, nothing. I don't know, man. Caesar?
Yeah. Okay, Mark, I would have heard from Rodwell there that Jagdio is calling for an audit of the Plaisance industry, NDC. And you know, that that just surprised me just now. And I do have a comeback for that. Mr. Jagdio, why don't we do an audit, a comprehensive audit of you, and you give us an account of how you was able to obtain all the assets that you have? Can we do that? You know?
No, he doesn't want an audit of himself. Sue spoke about that, all the corruption upon corruption upon corruption, and this Lucifer, this criminal, because Jagdio is just that. Let him tell us about whether it is true that he has a bank account filled with money in China and all these different things. Let us talk about that. Let us talk about all the kickbacks. This guy is just a criminal.
Because, Mark, I say this as an accountant, Jagdio working in government for 23 plus 3 years, there's no way, and I'm telling you this, no way that he could have amassed the amount of assets that he has. Okay? And don't worry, a new government is going to come into place. You know, and I personally will seek to have that comprehensive audit done on Mr. Jagdio, and I hope that he's watching, because what belongs to the state will be returned to the state. Over to you, Mark.
People of Plaisance, wake up. Do not allow yourselves to be bullied by a pack of criminals, Jagdio and his gang. Do not allow yourselves to be bullied at all. Do not be bullied or to be brainwashed into thinking that the system works. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for the ordinary people, regardless of their ethnicity, but more so, the system doesn't work for people of African descent. It is set not to work on behalf of those folks. It is set not to give you justice. So do not be brainwashed. As we look, before we go, I want to go back to this, what happened in Plaisance earlier. I kind of like what I saw there. So let's get back to it, Mr. Caesar.
Inside of the meeting this evening, the chairman, Mr. Rodwell, just said that the vice president wants nothing to do with the current chairman of the NDC. They're going to form their own committee to administer the affairs of the NDC, and that is dictatorial in its whole effect. That you're going to tell an elected committee, an elected body, that you don't want to have nothing to do with the current chair. It is ripped with dictatorial and dictatorship sentiments. So Jack Dio, as the chairman said, Plaisance will stand up for Plaisance, and we're going to see how this is going to play out. This does not look good on the government side, because what they're doing, they're trying to bully their way into the village of Plaisance and to set up all kinds of committees and to make all kinds of laws to administer the affairs of this community. And we're going to see how it is going to play out in the coming days. But I can tell you that the people of Plaisance will not stand for nothing that Jack Dio is presenting to the people of Plaisance. They're not going to happen. Yeah, we know to bring the crowd. So the police are removing, the crowd is dispersing, and that's what's happening in Plaisance right now. Protest, strong protest. A statement was made tonight to the current government, to Jack Dio and his entourage, that Plaisance people will not condone the dictatorial behavior. And so that's what's happening. We're going to end the broadcast, and we're going to give way to Sherrod Duncan, who's coming up. We got it tough, eh?
So, Mr. Caesar, you heard it all. They're wicked, they're dirty, they're evil people, evil people, evil people. As we leave tonight, we will, whatever happens in Plaisance tomorrow, we will carry it live right here on 107.1 FM. And we're still awaiting, we are awaiting the DPP's recommendations. Things are not looking nice. I don't like how it's looking. The DPP is playing games. Suddenly she wants the system to work. Jagde wants the system to work. Irfan wants the system to work. And others want the system to work. Your closing remarks, please, Mr. Caesar, as we prepare to get some rest.
They want the system to work, Mark. All of them who wants the system to work, the system better not work in his favor, man. Because, like I said before, I'm sticking to my guns with this case. This is a different case. I expect a different result coming from the DPP rather than the typical results that we usually bias results that always falls in favor of the PPPC. And just to add something else, the people of Plaisance need to look in to the legalities when it comes to forming committees, instead of having the NDC address the issues, surrounding the communities. I don't believe that there should be any committees dealing with the issues when it comes down to Plaisance. But then again, Mark, here is what the criminal Jagdio is going to use to try to infiltrate Plaisance. And listen, if the Plaisance people would sit passive and allow this to happen, Mark, he will take it out, to all the municipalities. He will take it to the city of Georgetown, which the coalition would have won, Linden, which they would have won handily, and he's going to form committees in all the townships, Mark. That way they can try to penetrate and even try to, buy out some of the councillors because they do have the funds available to them. But I say to all the councillors out there, remember, you were elected by the people to represent the people. You've taken an oath. Well, the oath hasn't happened as yet, but you will be taking an oath to serve the people. I would tell you to stick to that. You don't want to get your hands dirty with the PPPC. Don't worry, they will all fall. They will all fall, Mark. And listen, all these government ministers, man, I'm telling you, they all are going to be audited. They all need to be audited. Everybody would have to, at some point, account for all the assets because there is no way, Mark, with the salaries that they make, which is good salaries. But Mark, it is not material enough to match the assets that these guys have. It's not nearly material enough to match the assets that they have. So don't worry, guys. You might be thinking that you're playing it safe for now, but you all gonna come under fire because you all are gonna be audited. So you better get your numbers in line. And don't think you could transfer assets to somebody else. That can be tracked forensically. So please, thank you so much, Mark, for having me tonight. To the Guyanese people, I say, continue to hang in there. Continue to hang in there. We are on a path. We are on a path. Let's just stay the course, and we're all going to get to the promised land together, a better Guyana. God bless the people of Guyana, and God bless our beautiful country. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Mr. Caesar. Appreciate it. Well spoken. Good word of advice for our people. We all want to head over to the promised land, but there are obstacles in the way, and those obstacles must be removed by every and any legal means necessary. Those obstacles ought to be removed. And we cannot just remove those obstacles by sitting and just putting up our hands and saying, let it work, let the system work. I'm sorry that I'm back at that, but we got to let prayers work. That is more important. Forget about that system. That system doesn't work, especially under the PPP. Protests work. Let's allow the protests to work. Let's allow other stuff to work, prayers to work, not the system. The system is not with us. It is not for us. During the 400 plus years of slavery, probably the people, some of our ancestors were saying, let the system work. Let the system work. For 400 years, the system didn't work. Kofi and those guys weren't sitting down and allowing the system to work. They saw that it was fake. It was just basically a brainwashing tool used. And we're hearing it again now. Let the system work. Let the system work. It doesn't work. Remember the story in the Bible, they talk about when Jesus Christ was at the synagogue and some unruly people were there, like Jack Dale. They had no mannerism, they had absolutely nothing. They had no culture, they had no class. They were there. And Jesus Christ spoke to them in probably Guyanese talk. Man, y'all stop with the noise. Y'all stop disrupting the place. The money changers in the synagogue. And Jesus Christ spoke to them once, he spoke to them twice, he spoke to them again, and they weren't listening. And we know the end game with that. Jesus Christ get upset and he turned up the table upside it down. Just like when Jagan, well, I'm not equating Jagan to Jesus Christ, right? Jagan used to upturn the table, dash down law books, all kind of thing in Parliament. Y'all think Jagan was easy? But we got to stop this thing here. We got to stop this, let the system thing work. And we got to stop letting people who pretend that they're with us and pretend that they love us when in fact they just don't. Some of them are for themselves and the enjoyment. We'll talk about that in some other time. Let Dharamlal be charged. And even after that, we still have no faith in the system because we know the system is corrupt. From top to bottom, it is corrupt. And I leave you this evening. 3 prison officers were charged and remanded, aiding and abetting that guy who they claim escaped from the Mazaruni prison, Smalley. The youngest prison officer was placed on $750,000 bail. And 2 days now, his family is running around and they cannot release him, even though he paid his $750,000 bail. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But for now, God bless you all. Mr. Caesar, as always, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate your time, your energy, and your positivity. As a Plaisance man, I know how you feel, but go, and I'm sure that you will talk to some of your relatives there and friends to make sure that they're okay, and let them go out and protest. Let them stand up for their village. Let them don't sit and depend on the system to do that. The system is against them. The system is against all of us. God bless you, sir. And God bless all our listeners.
Thank you, Mark. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got to get some rest. And we've got to also stand in solidarity with our folks out there in Plaisance. We've got to stand with them by every and any legal means necessary. I like what I saw this evening. We need more of that. Bravery throughout the country. God bless you all. Gosh, I thought for a moment I had a slight flu there. But no, I don't. Even when I have a flu, I'm here with you guys, right? Yeah. Let the system work, right? God bless.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
You got it tough, eh?
The wickedness was done.
That's Ramson.
Put in there. Put in there.
Wicked in there. Wicked in there. Present is not to fail. Wicked in there. Present is not to Get out there. Get out. Listen it.
Mr. Chairman. What happened in the meeting there, boy?
Sure.
What go on in the meeting there? What is it?
Well, believe in me. And one thing my grandmother told me, and I continue, that code stuck with me. Right? Be careful with individuals who have diarrhea of words and constipated with action. And that is how I would describe Jagdio's speech. It's just